By the age of 25, I've been able to build my net worth to $275,000. Meanwhile, the median net worth for someone in their 20s is usually around $10,000. So, what have I done differently to help me get to this point? Well, in this video, I'm breaking down how I was able to leverage my career in the oil field to help supercharge my net worth, some difficult decisions and choices I've had to make along the way, as well as some financial help I've received to help me get to this net worth at the age of 25. And before we get started, I want you guys to leave a comment down below of what your net worth is and how old you are, because I'm pretty interested to see how everyone is doing on their net worth journey. So I started my personal finance journey when I was 21 years old, and I was a junior in college at the time studying petroleum engineering, and I just accepted my first offer for an internship for a fracking company. But here's the thing, guys. This wasn't your standard 9 to 5 office style internship where, you're getting your boss coffee every now and again. This was like a real boots on the ground internship where I was having to wake up at like 3 a.m. every single morning, and I'd roll over in bed and be on Snapchat and just see that, my friends back home were still posting at that hour videos of them drinking. And I'd then have to get up and go out to location before the sun even rose. And it was definitely a grind, but it was worth it because by the end of the summer, I had made my first $10,000. And of course, I was freaking out because I'd never made that kind of money before, and my brain was just flooding with all of these ideas on how I could upgrade my lifestyle and then just go flex on everyone when I made it back to college in the fall. But then there was the more rational side of my brain that knew I should probably do something more productive with the money. And I'd heard about investing before, and I'd always seen clips of Jim Cramer on CNBC, things like that, but I never really knew what it meant or how I could actually get into it. I always just figured it was something I'd figure out once I got older and landed a real full-time job. But as per usual, I started scrolling through Reddit and started learning about things like ETFs and dividend investing. And I vividly remember being in my cramped hotel room in this rural town that I was in, on the phone with Charles Schwab trying to get my first taxable brokerage account open. And I was a dumb 21-year-old at the time, so I definitely didn't invest that whole $10,000. I'm sure I saved most of it as beer money for when I went back to college, but it was still a pretty big first step for me because I had finally embarked on a financial freedom journey I didn't even know I was on yet. And after I graduated college, I went right back into the oil field as a field engineer, and I was working a lot of hours in pretty high stress situations, but I knew I had found a unicorn of a job because I was making six figures, and for this job I had to move to a pretty rural town where the cost of living was super low, so I was pretty much just able to pocket everything I was making. Not to mention, this job was where I had my first real mindset shift when it came to personal finance. And this is because I had a coworker I would talk to about money and life and things like that. And I remember him always boasting about how him and the other senior level engineers always cleared well over $150,000 per year. So of course I'm thinking, these guys are all loaded. But come to find out, he was in like 3 mortgages deep and had over $500,000 worth of debt to his name, and he was only in his 40s. And this shocked me because my whole life up to that point, I had always just equated wealth with income. And if you were someone that made like $200,000 a year, you may as well have been Jeff Bezos in my book. But all of a sudden, I realized that you could be making that level of money, but still be on the same playing field of people making minimum wage if you didn't know how to control your expenses. And really, just like that, I started just investing everything I could into the stock market and appreciating assets. I think I was paying like $500 in rent at the time, and I hardly had to buy groceries because I got per diem from my job, and I really just wasn't home enough to even spend that much money out doing things. So all of my money just went straight into investments. The market was also doing really well at this time. It was like the 2023 to 2024 time frame, and it just felt like every time I checked my net worth, I was just up another $10,000, and I felt like I'd found a money printing cheat code. But of course, this didn't come without its trade-offs. I mean, I can't tell you guys how many nights, Friday nights specifically, I can remember sitting alone in my apartment in this lonely town and just doom scrolling on Instagram, all these other people my age, 23, 24, and they're doing what I felt like I should have been doing at that age, which was in the downtown of some big city, either at the bar or at the club, and just having a good time. And, the best thing I had was going to the local towny bar to drink with the construction crew. And really, I just felt like I was wasting my youth. Not to mention, I already was starting to feel pretty burnt out from all the hours I was working at this job and all the late nights and the weekends I was working, and I could already sense that I was getting ready for a pivot. So, after about 2 years at this job, I was able to pivot to an office based role in the oil and gas transmission side of things. And this was exactly what I was looking for because it gave me so much more lifestyle freedom, and I was able to move to an area with a much greater population of people my age. But I'd be lying to you guys if I said this job didn't come with one big caveat and something that was a huge ego check for me, and that's that I was going from making over $100,000 a year down to around $80,000 a year. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still super thankful for this salary, and it's something I'm still able to live very comfortably on. But whenever I took that pay cut, it was a huge hit to my ego. But what I was losing out on when it came to money that I could invest, I was able to make up for in the ability to invest in myself. And I know that sounds really cringe, but you gotta hear me out. I was able to start spending more time and effort in things like my health, which meant better sleep, better diet, and more consistent exercise. I've been able to try out new skills like martial arts and Toastmasters for my public speaking. And overall, I feel like these are things that will pay big dividends to me later on in life. Not to mention, I was able to grow my portfolio so much during those 2 years that now it does most of the heavy lifting for me, even though I'm still able to invest around $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Now, I do want to be completely transparent with you guys, and that's that my net worth isn't 100% self-made. I have received things like Roth IRA contributions from my parents, as well as other gifts that I've taken and invested, so those have definitely played a big role in allowing me to hit this net worth by the age of 25. But at the end of the day, the real driver of my net worth has been my career choices, the systems I've built, and the discipline that I've carried with me through this process that has allowed me to invest so much money in the market. So when it comes to building this kind of net worth, there wasn't really any secret strategy behind it or special trade secrets. I definitely didn't hit it big on crypto or anything like that. What really made the difference was just a combination of my career decisions, keeping my lifestyle really simple, and consistently investing the difference over those period of years where I had that larger income window. And if there's one thing I really want you to take away from this video, it's that your 20s are the ultimate time to use leverage to your advantage. If you can take your income and then resist the temptation to inflate your lifestyle and just invest the difference, it has the power to completely change your life and make you financially free. So if you made it all the way to the end, I appreciate you guys for sticking around, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.